Welcome back to the Prosperity Playbook. As promised, we are doing a second episode with my friend Shianne Erickson. And today we are going to talk about network marketing, multi-level marketing, whatever you want to call it. E-commerce is another term that I've kind of heard lately. And I think sometimes this gets a bad rap. So we're going to talk about the good, the bad, and the ugly of this today. This is totally judgment free. There's no sales pitch around this. It's going to be a really balanced conversation because I think at this stage of the game, everybody knows somebody that is involved in some sort of a network marketing company. And maybe you've even done it yourself and you either loved it or hated it. Chances are there's not much in the middle there. But so let's start off there, Cheyenne, and tell me about your journey and how you got into this in the first place.
Okay, yeah. So I was a school secretary. And I started working, my husband worked in the oil field out of town. And so I had done it for about 8 years. And honestly, it just kept being placed in front of me. And so it's not like I was looking for anything. And finally, I reached out to the girl who I kept seeing it posting on Facebook, which I actually seen it through a friend of mine that I knew her. My husband's grandma actually babysat her. And then I kind of creeped the comments and I was like, what the heck? How is she making $20,000 a month? And I just thought you don't just throw that kind of money around if you don't have a college degree, or that's what the world teaches us is you can only make that kind of money as a doctor or lawyer, that kind of a thing. And so, of course, naturally I looked into it and I was like, I got to look at this and see. Anyway, so I kind of went down the rabbit hole and did a lot of Facebook creeping. And turns out my mentor is from Bozeman. I didn't know her. She's younger than I am, but her husband currently, he played for the Bobcats. And so I went down that hole of like, okay, he's legitimate. They're real people, not just some bot on the internet. And I reached out to her and then I actually ghosted her. And I was like, no, I don't know. Thing. This is just scary. I'm not like a network marketer. I really, truly, honestly had never taken a selfie. And I noticed these people were talking live on Facebook. And that's just not for me. Facebook was literally my outlet of things like for my family. I post pictures of my kids or their sports or whatever because I have family all over. Cody has family around. So I was like, no. This is not for me. I would never, ever do some online nonsense. And so I ghosted her. And then she had reached out to me again a few months later. And I was actually, we do birthday trips instead of gifts for our kids. And so me and my youngest was at Disneyland. And she called me and she's like, you want to jump on a call and let's just chat. That's all we have to do is just chat. See if this is what you're really looking for. And I was like, okay, sure. I didn't watch the video she sent me. I knew I wanted to change. I truly was burnt out working at the school and having the largest middle school in the state. That's a lot of kids. That's over 1,000 kids and a lot of parents to deal with and a lot of emotions. And as I've gotten older, I'm kind of a no bullshit person. And I was so over the way that parents talk to us as secretaries and being the front of the school and all that kind of stuff. So I was like, yeah, absolutely. I think it hit me at a time where I was over it.
Yeah.
And so I reached back out to her and got on that call with her. And honestly, I jumped in right away. I didn't call Cody. I didn't even think twice. When she said how much the investment was to get started, I was like, how much? I was blown away. I mean, it was like $15,000. And most of the time I've done low ticket, it's 500, whatever to start. And I was just like, yep, I'll do it. If you can tell me I can make $20,000 a month, show me what you got. So I jumped in. I actually launched my business January 4th and I made $20,000 in 11 weeks.
That's amazing.
Or 11 days. I'm sorry. And so I just was like, no way, this is real. Like kind of pinched me, Of course. Anyways, I've been in it for 2 years. I've been able to make multiple six figures doing it. I don't have a college degree. I don't have any social network. I didn't have a huge following. I truly didn't know what the hell I was doing, but I was willing to learn.
I love that. Well, congratulations on your success, first of all. And I want to go back to what you said, like about doctors and lawyers being the way to make six figures. It's funny that you say that because that is literally how I grew up thinking. If you were going to make six figures, you had to be a doctor or a lawyer. And as somebody that looks at people's incomes all the time now, I can tell you that that's actually not true. It's usually salespeople of whatever kind it is, whether it's, something in network marketing or whether they're a medical salesperson or investments or whatever. It's some kind of sales is the answer more so than doctors and especially lawyers, unless they're super, super specialized. they're not making the kind of money you think they are, and they hate their lives.
Yeah.
So I do think, well, let's throw some of the stigmas out there right away. I know you told me you've lost some friends over this, and I do think people instantly put their guard up as soon as you start talking about initial investment, and as soon as you start talking about life-changing money. Like, it freaks people out and they think it's too good to be true. And I did Rodan and Fields myself for a while, and one of the things that was really clear to me was that none of it is easy. It's not a get rich quick thing. So I think if people come into this thinking, okay, I'm just going to buy this initial investment and I'm going to put a couple of Facebook posts and then I'm just going to start cranking in $20,000 a month. That's not it, is it?
That's absolutely not it. Nope. And I like to tell people, like, I'll tell you how, if they ask me, I'll tell them exactly how I started. And my success is never going to be the same as anybody else's. I mean, my success and my mentor's success, she came in and didn't make a sale for two months, and I was able to make 4 sales in 11 days. And so that is not typical. I mean, there's people who've been in it for 6 months and haven't made a sale, but it's not easy. It's time consuming. It's a lot. But if you do it right, I feel like you learn the mindset, and we break so many things that we were taught, like you said, of, only doctors and lawyers make that kind of money. And it's so true. And now you look at high ticket sales, and I look at like real estate agents and people like that who are making that kind of money and probably have a better life and enjoy it. Cause a lot of these things you can work from anywhere.
Yeah. I think that's a huge one. I think, I've talked about that many times, that I love being in sales where I'm 100% commission and I work from my couch in my pajamas with my dogs most of the time. Like, that is what I want to do. If I'm on vacation, I can still be working my business or not. And I think that is something, network marketing is just sales on a different level. And I really genuinely believe it can be the right thing for certain people, as long as you treat it like a job. I think that's the key. Now, if you just want a little extra money, and you can do some of the low ticket things, like you called them, like, Mary Kay or whatever, you can make a couple extra $100 a month. Sure. Certainly there are people that make crazy money on it and build huge teams. But if you really want to build a huge team, or you want to make actual real job money, I think you have to treat it like a job and, work your business every day, have your hours, and be consistent and disciplined. Do you agree with that?
Absolutely. I mean, we have, what do we call a DMO, like a daily method of operation. And there are non-negotiable things that you have to do every single day, whether that be, creating content or, engaging or going into groups or doing things like that. They are non-negotiables you have to do every day to be successful. I mean, and honestly, I think in any business, consistency is the key.
Absolutely.
And once you're consistent, the rest falls into place for sure.
And I'm sure it gets a little easier over time too, just like it has in sales for me. I finally realized I wasn't trying to sell people something they didn't want. Like, I'm not trying to sell everybody in the country a house if they don't want to buy a house. That's fine. I just want to help the people that want to buy a house do it a better way. And I think if that's where you come from, that you're not trying to take advantage of anybody, you're just trying to help them with their whether it's their health or whether it's their bottom line paycheck or whatever that looks like. I think that is that's people will feel that you're genuine around it, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that, any of it can be salesy and scammy if people aren't passionate about it.
Yeah.
And that's where I'm like, I don't want to help everybody. I don't have to link arms with everybody. I got to be picky and choosy. And so I typically know when I you reach out to me, that's the beauty, is I don't have to like reach out to people. I'm not cold calling my aunt and uncle and being like, I have to make these sales. People reach out because I truly do have a solution that can help people. And so if you're not somebody who's going to even answer a handful of questions, I know you're probably not who I want to partner with to be a business partner, because you're offended that I'm asking you what you're currently doing or what you're looking for. Because if you're looking to dabble in $500 to $1,000, that's truly not a high ticket business. It's people who are looking to make $10,000 to $20,000.
Yeah. No, I think that makes an absolute ton of sense. And I think there's an important point here, and I've hit on this in other episodes, but if it was easy, everyone would do it and you wouldn't make the money that you do. it has to be hard in order for us to make the kind of money that we do in whatever career that we choose. So if you want a high ticket career, or a high dollar career, then you have to do the hard things that not everybody's willing to do. And I think you have to go into it with that mindset.
Yeah. And I think that, I always tell people, do the hard things now. Like, I mean, I look at it and I'm like, these young kids that are joining at 18 and 20 years old, I'm like, you can literally have it set up in the next 10 years to truly enjoy life. I look at people who are retiring at 65 and then have health problems and all these things and don't get to enjoy life. So
choose your hard.
Choose your hard.
Choose your hard. And is it hard to work a business every day? Absolutely. Is it hard to not know how you're going to pay your bills? Yeah, absolutely. You pick which one you want, and it's okay if it's not for you, that is totally fine. But I think an important point you actually said just in your story is you didn't see it right away. You were like, nope, this isn't my jam. But sometimes it's about hitting you on the right day. And for me, every time I've changed companies in my mortgage career, it's because somebody hit me on the right day when I was just pissed off enough about something where I was like, you know what, I do want to change.
And that's exactly kind of what happened, is that there was a situation and a mom told me I was a liar for not caring for the kids. And I'm like, good golly, if you knew, we just had the conversation about giving to kids that were less needy or less fortunate and things like that, where it's like, I have given kids money for field trips and I've bought them lunches or whatever it may be. And it's like those things that people don't see. And so when this mom kind of came at me for really, truly going above and beyond for her kid, that was kind of the straw that broke the camel's back. And I was like, sign me up. I'm willing to do anything and everything, even if that means it's hard. I'm willing to do it.
Yeah. Well, and for your family, I hope you don't mind that I'm bringing this up, but I know, Cody, like, as you said, he worked in the oil fields for a while, and that is a volatile career and something that you kind of go when they tell you to go. And then he's been away from your family a ton. And then, the fact that then his oil job changed, right?
It did. Yeah. When one of the companies got bought out by a bigger company and it kind of switched hands, and it was like, okay, now what? And he was so new at that position, like 2.5 years, but still one of the newest guys. He didn't get brought on by the new company. And so he kind of jumped into another company and it just wasn't near as great. So he worked that for a few months and then the layoffs happened and it was like, crap, now what? Because now at this point, we don't have college degrees. He can't just, go to another engineering firm or whatever, even though he probably could be an engineer with the knowledge he has from being out there. That's why we jumped in. And then him and I both jumped into this business full time. And he didn't love it like I do. And I really wanted him to love it.
Sure.
But he didn't love it like I did. And so it was my dream. And then he got called back to a company actually just in March. Well, he got called back in February, but he just started back in March. And it's like, he loves it. He loves what he does.
Yeah.
And
it's okay that he decided it wasn't right for him. And I think that's an important point, is if you force people to try to love it like you do, it's never going to work. You're going to have to force them to work every day. You're going to have to force them to make their calls and do their posts and whatever else. So I think you have to let people decide for themselves if it's their fit.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's the beauty of this, is I will never beg people to join. I'll never force them to join, because when you have to beg somebody to do that, then you're begging them to work. And this is a business where it's a business and I can prove to you that I have a blueprint that works for people, but it's also you getting to be the CEO of your own business, and you grow it at which rate you want to. I'll just give you the tools that I've learned, and everything that I have, I'll give to you.
Yeah.
And then you pass it down to your people as well. But I will never force anybody to work. And that's been a hard thing for me to overcome, because I want to see success in everybody, especially the ones where I'm like, I'll show you you can do this.
Yeah.
But I've actually seen it be bad for me in my business, because I care so much what the success for other people. I want that more than they do a lot of the time. And it just doesn't work that way. They have to want to work.
That is so true. And that is something that I really firmly believe, is that you can pour into people, you can give your heart, you can give whatever of your time, but you can't be tied to the outcome, because they are ultimately the ones that are going to control that. And I think that's probably more true than ever in this business.
Absolutely.
So let's talk about some of the ugly things. So you mentioned you've lost quite a few friends over this. I mean, I do think people there have been so many network marketing companies over the years. When I was with Rodan and Fields, Bozeman was one of the hotbeds for it. You couldn't throw a rock without hitting a Rodan and Fields person. And it just became this like joke of like, oh, you too? Okay, sure. And it was because some of the first ones that got in were in Bozeman, and they were making insane money, and they had a good blueprint that worked, like you said. And so there was just a ton of people that jumped into that, but people would like run from me because they were so afraid I was going to give them a sales pitch.
Yes. And I've never understood, because unless you bring it up, I'm not here to talk about it. Now, I will 100% say, like, I have a friend who tells me she has migraines. I'm like, truly, think about what is in our water, and I have incredible, a huge testimony myself for the benefits of these products. And I did not join this business for the products. I didn't even know what the products were, because I didn't follow what she told me to do.
What are the products? Give me the short version of like, what is it?
It's molecular hydrogen water. Okay. So it's like our water is like electrocuted, and it's alkaline. It changes the pH in the water. And so for me, I have autoimmune diseases, and I've been able to come off all medication for Crohn's and RA. Cool. And so, but when I started, I didn't join that, but I absolutely, if I know that I can help you, I might throw it out there, but otherwise sure. I'm not here to pitch you.
Yeah, totally.
And most of the people, I don't want you to be on my team, because I don't want to feel like I always have to compete or feel like your success depends on me helping you. Mm-hmm. And I do have friends who have joined the business, and I kind of let mine go downhill while I was trying to help you run yours, or I cared more about theirs than I cared mine. And that it just doesn't work. So honestly, I'm not here to have my friends join. Most of the people that are on my team are not from this area. I have, all over the States, and that's what network marketing is, and the joy of getting to find people not from here or that I know.
Yeah, that is a good point. And I do think it is hard with friends. I had quite a few people on my Rodan and Fields team that were friends, and same thing. Like, I didn't reach out to any of them. They all came to me. It was their idea. They wanted to join. They wanted to do it. And most of them stayed in it longer than I did. I had a young daughter at the time, and was working for Wells Fargo doing mortgages and trying to do it. And something had to give. And at that point, I chose my mortgage career. And so I had to let something go. But I knew, because I had to do it as a full-time business if I wanted to do that. But it was hard for me then to step away from those people that were working it side by side with me. But I knew they were going to roll up to somebody that was actually a lot better than me anyway. And so that was okay. But I think who you are is you are always going to cheer for people. You are going to want people to be successful. And I love that about you, because I think that's kind of a rare quality. And I think, back to losing some friends over it, not everybody's going to cheer for you. And there are always going to be haters that are going to look back or look and say, oh, well, it's a scam, or, oh, you, the queen of the pyramid scheme, or whatever. And I think a lot of it is jealousy of, that they didn't jump in when you did, or that they can't do that because they aren't happy with their situation.
Yeah, I totally agree. And I had somebody tell me, that's just a scam. And in fact, the day that I launched my business, I had phone calls instantly that were like, are you selling drugs? Are you stripping? What are you doing if you can make that kind of money, Well, no, I'm not doing any of the above. I'm doing something that you can genuinely make good money doing it. And I didn't have debt. I didn't have, there's an investment to get started, but it's like the ROI on it is so big.
Yeah, you're investing in yourself.
Yeah. And so I didn't look at it like that, but I'm like, gosh, they've been in a career for 20 years and still paying student loans. And so I don't know if that's like where it came in, but it's like, I remember walking into the gym the first time, like after I started my business. And I just remember the eyes, and I told Cody, I was like, I hate this. I hate this feeling. Maybe I should quit.
Because like everybody was looking at you?
Yes. And my kids, people would say things to my kids. One time I made a TikTok, and it was just literally the dumbest TikTok ever. And my kids were like, Mom, delete that. People are saying things about that. And I think so often, and I said that when I first got here, but we care so much what everybody thinks. And that is what my biggest holdup in my business is. If I would just like let loose and be like, I cuss like a sailor, this is genuinely who I am, but I have a heart of gold and I truly want everybody to win. I just need to show up as myself. And that's in any business.
It really genuinely is. I feel like the more and more that I continue to just lean into who I am and, cuss like a sailor. Although I found out my processor the other day doesn't cuss at all, and she really is not okay with cussing. And I'm like, dear God, how long has she worked for me? And I didn't know this, so I felt really bad. But, I just genuinely want to help all of the people. It's just, I think it is. I think it's a special thing, and people don't see that often. They're not used to that person being both, like just genuine and open. Everybody's putting on the front. Everybody wants to only share the good stuff and not the hard stuff. And I'm a big fan of sharing the hard stuff too, because we all have it.
Absolutely. And if you say you don't, I mean, marriage is hard, parenting is hard. It's literally like pick your heart and how you run with it. But we've talked about it a little earlier too, is that we never know what somebody's going through just because they show up with a smiley face or whatever it may be. I don't know what you're going through.
Yeah, absolutely. You just really don't know what anybody is ever going through. And, talking about that, if you missed our last episode, we did a whole conversation around parenting teenagers and how it's the hardest thing ever. So go back and listen to that if you missed it. But I'm guessing that you get people making comments to you that it's a pyramid scheme. So let's just address that a pyramid scheme and a legitimate multi-level marketing company are two completely different things, correct?
Absolutely. A pyramid scheme is you don't actually get the physical product, right? And so, I mean, even multi-level marketing, the person at the top is always going to get commission. Yep. And with this, that's not how it is. It's actually people in my downline can pass where I'm at. My mentor has passed where her mentor was at.
Cool. I like that.
And so it's not like it's even every person at the top wins. There are definitely bonuses and things like that you can get the higher up you get, but it doesn't mean that somebody in my downline can't bypass where I'm at, you know, and I get cut out of their commission. I don't make commission off of every single person in my downline, which is
interesting.
More like a multi-level marketing, Yeah.
Yeah. And I think that's the key is there's lots of different companies and you got to do your research. You got to read the fine print and you got to be willing, especially if you're going to do a high ticket one, which by the way, if you've paid attention at all, there are tons of people out there worldwide that are crushing it on high ticket sales. And pick your product type of a thing. Certainly if you have like the water thing sounds really cool because you genuinely are helping people with their health. And we all know that our water has shit in it at this point. So it's a super interesting one that probably has a huge target demographic. But, there's lots of different things and you can kind of pick if it is something that you want to do or not. And I think, learning from even the mistakes that some other people have made, I think not being afraid to try it just because somebody else failed at it. And I think that's why, in my opinion, you can tell me if you disagree, but I think the negative connotation with network marketing comes from people that have tried it and were like, it didn't work for me because it wasn't what they expected it to be. They thought it was going to be easy and people would just show up at their door and buy products.
Absolutely. And I think that, the only way truly to fail at this business is to quit. And I feel like with so many, same thing with real estate. The only time that you're going to really fail, you might only get one sale a year. I don't know. But if you quit, you get none. And that's how any business is the only way to actually fail is to quit. And so if you work hard at it, it might take you a little longer, but you're going to learn the kinks out of it during that trial time and come ahead out on top.
So talk to me about some of the things that you have done that have just helped you get past some of the negative comments that people have said. I'm going to guess it's still a challenge for you, but how do you separate that and just keep going?
My biggest problem is that I care what people think. And my kids are in all the sports and so traveling and doing the things. And like I said, walking into the gym or go to the baseball field or whatever, and knowing that people are staring at me thinking like, what are they thinking about me? Well, that's like me thinking they're saying things about me. And I really, truly don't know.
Sure.
I don't really know that they're saying anything. It's like I'm projecting that on myself. And so letting go of what people think, it is probably the hardest thing, but it's the most rewarding thing. Once you get to that, where it's like, I don't care, I can do the hard things. And if I can let go of what people think about me,
Yeah.
I can do anything.
Well, and our brain always defaults to worst case scenario, that they're saying something terrible, but they might be like, damn, did you hear how much money she's making these days? Or
Yeah.
like, damn, we really miss having her at the middle school or whatever it is. Like, it might be positive things, but we automatically assume it's not. But I do think part of it, when I started doing social media, that was one of my fears around it as well. It was like, oh my God, people are going to be like, do you think you're an influencer? Like, you suck. And I honestly got less hate than I thought, but as my following grows, and it's still very small, but you get more hate as the bigger you get. There, I talked about this on an episode a couple weeks ago, but it's lonely at the top. And as hard as that is to accept, it genuinely can be. Like in a company like yours, I'm going to assume that there's other like really good people that you probably network with and share ideas. And certainly I have that within my mastermind group as well. But not everybody will cheer for you, and a lot of them will prey on your downfall. And that you just have to know that that's about them and not about you.
Absolutely. And I think our community is great, but I know that, like we always say, sit at a table with 4 people, you'll become the 5th of
That's
whatever
right.
it may be.
That's
and
right.
that is like your core. Who you invite to your table matters so much.
Absolutely.
And I have learned that just because somebody might have cheered me on in other things doesn't mean they're cheering me on in this, and doesn't mean and that's okay. They don't have to cheer me on in this, but you definitely learn to kind of pick your poison.
Yeah, I think so too. Well, and like I said, I think other people have had bad experiences with them for one reason or another. In fact, Rodan and Fields, I had a ton of friends that were very, very successful with that. And I think within the last year, they decided they were not a network marketing company anymore. And they just went to straight retail, and everybody lost their teams. Like you could still sell product, but you couldn't recruit consultants, and they lost all their downlines. And people went from making multiple 6 figures to not much at all. And they had worked that business for years and years and built something really special. And to have it be gone overnight, like that broke quite a few people that I know. And a lot of them were like, you know what? We learned a lot. We made a lot of money. It was great. No regrets. On to the next thing. But some of the ones that weren't able to see that as clearly were pissed and broken and not sure where to pivot to.
Yeah, and I see that happen honestly in this business a lot, because there are a lot of people who have come in who have been top producers. Not a gal not in my community, but doing the same business as mine, and she was a top leader in a makeup company, and now that's happened to that company, and she did get out before, and now she's making a lot of money, 6 figures a month. And it's so crazy that they can just take something, and that could be any job, look at how many jobs AI is taking away, and so I think that's one of the stigmas where people are like, oh my gosh, I never would do network marketing. Well, you might be forced to at some point.
How much control do you have over your job,
Yep.
I mean, AI is a really good point. There are a lot of our jobs that could be consumed by AI sooner rather than later, or at least partially changed by that. And it's, selling products is something that a computer can do, but having trust built with your audience is different.
Absolutely.
Not everybody can do that. And that's why sales is hard. And that's why you get paid a lot for sales, is being able to build trust in a genuine way and care about your customers. That's how you sustainably do it and make good money, in my opinion.
Yep, absolutely. I mean, I know we were at a baseball tournament in Helena, and a robot took our order. I was blown away, and I was just like, it's even replacing cashiers. It's replacing so many things. And so I hate hearing when people say that network marketing is just a scam, because truly it's not.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's what you make of it. And just like everything else, if you are at a regular 8 to 5 job, it's probably going to be what you make of it too. If you show up and do the bare minimum, you'll probably get a paycheck and not get fired. But if you take initiative and try to better your situation and learn new things and advance and, take on extra work, you're going to advance in the company and you're going to make more money in most cases. So it really is different depending on what your deal is and how much you are genuinely willing to put into it.
Yep, absolutely.
Well, we'll kind of just put a bow on this here. Do you have any advice for people that are considering doing this, as to like, how should they get started if they do, or if they're looking for something different that could be income replacement for them?
Yeah. And this, I mean, the things that I do is it can either supplement or replace your income for sure. And I would say that just because it didn't work out for Sally doesn't mean it's not going to work out for you, you know, and just because your aunt's cousin's uncle had a bad experience and didn't make any sales doesn't mean that that's how it's going to be for you. I would say that no matter what it is, whether it be Rodan and Fields or Mary Kay or Scentsy or high ticket, you know, something like that, I would say reach out, get the information straight from the horse's mouth and see if it's for you, because it's amazing how many people are like, I just want to, you know, we live comfortably, but we're not building our savings, or we want to travel more, or
it's very
whatever it may be. If you just want that additional income, or the beautiful thing that I love about my company is that the legacy, like once I build this business up and I'm getting that legacy wealth, it's willable and deedable to my kids. And so getting to be able to pass that down to them was a huge, for me, you know, a game changer for me. I know when my dad passed away, I didn't get his dirty underwear from my step monster is what I like to call her. So I want to be able to give my kids so much more than what I was given. And so I would just say reach out straight to somebody and have the conversations. Just because it didn't work out for your neighbor or somebody else does not mean you're not fit out for it. And you might truly impress yourself and be able to make six figures without having a college degree.
Well, and I would say, and you can disagree with me, but for me, I would say pick a product that you actually can be passionate about. I think that was one of my problems with Rodan and Fields. Like, I'm clearly not a skincare girly. Like, I'm just not. Like, it's not something that's super important to me. And so I wasn't crazy passionate about that. So pick a product that you genuinely think makes a difference for people, or that you want to sell, or that you can get behind, whether it's high ticket or low ticket. I feel like that's how you pick what you want to do, what you genuinely want to sell on a daily basis.
Absolutely. And that, like for me, we don't even push products because most of the people don't come into the business for the products. And now I'm not saying that, because there are other communities who they only product push. They only share the water, you know, like more crunchier type people do share the products more. I love sharing the products because I genuinely have a health testimony that it's helped me come off of some horrible medications for autoimmune diseases. But yeah, I would say find something that you're passionate about. And I could speak on the water all day long because I love how I feel about it. I love that my kid's like Easton. He comes home from Utah and he's like, oh my gosh, just give me the water. His face cleared up because we have the units in the shower as well. And so, you know, child acne is real, and it's helped my kids with acne. And just, so I'm truly genuinely passionate about clean water, and we all need clean water.
Right.
But the beauty of it is you don't have to push the products. You can actually teach people to, you know, have financial freedom, time freedom, just by creating some content and genuinely believing in that.
Yeah. And I think that's it. Just genuinely believing in it. Like, would you buy it yourself? If you're trying to sell something that you would not buy yourself, then that's probably a real red flag for you on that one.
Absolutely.
So yeah, I think, you know, figure out what products you like, figure out if this is something that's just going to give you some extra income, then you can probably do part-time hours. If you're really hoping that this is something that will replace your current income or increase it, then you probably need to be able to put full-time hours in it. Certainly you can start as a side gig. I think especially now, this whole gig economy thing, a lot of people have multiple streams of income, which I think is smart. You know, my friends that were very successful in Rodan and Fields, that was one of the things. They were easily to pivot to something else because they already knew how to build. They already knew how to do the hard things. They already knew how to get past the haters and the things like that. And so it was, I don't want to say it was easy. I know it was hard, but it was easier because they already had the blueprint, and it can translate into your next business.
And we have some people in our team who actually did Arbonne forever. And I didn't realize, I mean, I figured they had made tons of money doing it. And one of the gals, she did it for 8 years, hosted parties. You know, she cold reached out to 20 to 40 people a day. She has like all these things that I'm actually going live with her on Facebook in a couple of days, but she told me all these things she did. And the top number that she made was $4,200 in a month. And I was like, that's a lot of work for $4,200.
That is a lot of work for $4,200.
And so now she's making 30,000+ a month. And it's just like, it's mind blowing that's sometimes what I want people to know is that you hustle really hard. And I have no doubt in my mind in any of those businesses that you do hustle hard. So make your worth it. You know?
Well, and I think that maybe is one of the reasons to look at a high ticket something I think it is probably easier quote unquote to make life-changing money versus if you're trying to do it makeup or something like that. Nobody's life is probably changing around makeup, although maybe, you never know. But it takes a lot more smaller sales to do that. So,
yeah, I totally agree.
Awesome. Well, I think it's something to consider for a lot of different people. If you're looking for just a little bit of a side gig, if you're looking to replace it, if you're looking for more flexibility, but again, you have to be willing to work hard if it's something that you want to do, and do your research, do some digging, find out, talk to multiple different people, potentially even that are in different companies, see what they like about it. I do think I met some really cool people when I did Rodan and Fields. There are people in my life now that I met back then, and they were just genuine good people. So I do think there's some sisterhood or camaraderie or whatever around that, that might be the biggest thing people are looking for.
Yeah, I totally agree. I love the people I get to work with. I mean, I get to talk to them every day, and we're all there for the same reason. And so it's not like I'm in competition with you or her or, whatever. It's how do we get to cheer you on? How can I support you? Maybe it's a mindset block and I can help walk somebody through it. It's all about how your mindset is. If you're willing to cheer on the next person doing it,
yeah,
kudos to you, because there are not that many that like to cheer on other women or other people as they be successful.
Well, I have talked about that a few times before. And one of the things I found is people like to cheer you on until you pass them, and then they don't cheer as much anymore. Genuine. Yeah. Most people, I not everybody. So hopefully there's more like that. But let's talk about how people can connect with you. If they want to reach out to you, or they have more questions around you, or they're interested in the water thing, what is the best way for them to connect with you on social?
I would say Facebook is probably the one that I run the most, and it's just Shianne Erickson. And so, yeah, I would love, shoot me a message if you have any questions, if you want to jump on a Zoom and, kind of see what the products are about or the business. Maybe you just want the products. And I do have people, I actually have a gal that has, she loves it. She has friends that have had cancer. And so she's done so much research on the water, and she's put them in her casino in 2 different locations here in Montana. And so it could be the products, it could be the business, kind of a thing. If you just want to genuinely chat, let me know. And
Shianne is spelled a little differently than like the Wyoming kind. So you want to spell that so people can find you?
Yep. It's SHIANNE and then Erickson, ERICKSON.
Perfect. And they can just connect with you on Facebook, shoot you a message, and ask whatever question. Sounds like you're an open book. And
I am. Yep. I feel like there's nothing that I'm not willing to talk about, from, parenthood to marriage to business.
I love it.
It's life.
Well, we all need more people like that in our lives. So feel free to connect with Shianne if you have other questions on that. Hit her up in the DMs, and make sure you go back and check out the Parenting Teenagers episode from before. And stay tuned. Maybe we'll have her back on some future episodes. So here's to empowering each other one story at a time.